Hey, what's up? What is good, y'all? It's your boy DJ Fanatic Beats, content contributor for LiveOffBeats.com. Welcome to this beat breakdown video. It's a really chill vibe. It has like this laid back vibe, but also a lot of melodic elements. And actually, it just sounds really good. Everything came together nice. So if you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at DJ Fanatic Beats or Sounds for Producers on IG as well. So I'm gonna go over all the elements. It's not too much in this beat, but it sounds like more than it is. I'm gonna go down every sound selection, go over every sound selection, as well as whatever plugins I use and any type of fancy stuff I did for each sound. This beat is pretty straightforward, and I thought it came out pretty cool. So let me change my snap to grid to bar so that way it's easier. And the first sound I started with, let's see what I chose. I used trophies, and the particular sound that I chose was shadows, which was an electric piano. So let's isolate that. And I'm trying to figure out why it's on the second track, so it looks like I did some craziness. So anyway, with that sound, did I do any processing? Just a little bit of reverb, and everything will have EQ on it, so I basically isolate the frequencies so everything sounds good. The next thing I added was what was the next thing I added? Let's see, because it's out of order. And sometimes I like to challenge myself, so I'll stick with the same plugin. So I actually use trophies as well, and I use some bells that I found in there. This is under the signature stacks, and that's Already Love. And I actually used halftime, so let's turn off the plugins. And this is with the plugins. So with that particular sound, halftime just added like another, almost like a melody, like 2 octaves lower. And I just messed around with the mix level, so that way the regular melody shines through, but also the lower melody does as well. And I messed around with the sustain timing and also the loop timing. So you can mess around with plugins and just kind of adjust parameters to taste and kind of get the same effect. Of course, EQ is in there, and I cut the lows as well, so that way the higher part of the instrument, the sound, comes through. And that particular melody, my bad, I didn't even sing on here, but that particular melody, it was in my head from way back. If you're a fan of the Neptunes or Pharrell Williams or Khalees, you actually might remember where that came from. I'm not going to tell you what song it was. If you do, just put it in the comments or something, and it'll be awesome if you figure that out. The next sound that I chose was probably from Arcade, I think, because I saw it. Yeah. Let me just play it by itself. And that actually added a lot to the beat, that one little simple melody. So far we got 3 melodies, and Arcade's by Output, and the particular one I used, play, it was this, what is this called? I called it Plux. Oh, it's called Locust, and that was in one of the packs they have. So it's sample based, but I wanted like a cool melody. So let me play these 3 elements on top, and that one was just EQ'd as well because there's a lot of effects in Arcade built in, so I didn't even do anything you know, outside of that. And actually all of these just complement each other. Let me hit the first one. Oh, see, that's why I was tripping. The first sound, see, I went all out of order. I started with chords. So this was the chords. My bad, y'all. This was the chords that I played with this pad. And in trophies, I used the electric piano called Shadows. That was the first sound. The second sound was trophies as well. It was the lead called All I Ever. So I started with chords. I usually start with chords just to kind of get a feel what I want to do. It doesn't matter if you start with chords or a melody. It's cool, or drums. Everyone works differently, and it's art at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how it's done. It just matters that, you know, it's something unique in the end. So anyway, I started with these chords. It sound cool, and I just built from that. So started with this, and with that first sound processing, just EQ'd. So it's pretty cool how, you know, straight out the box, and I liked it the way it was. So here it is with the chords. Higher octave. See, the second part builds energy, and I think I doubled them up too. Yeah, see, I doubled up the same chord, left the same chord, but also played an octave higher. And that's a little tip you can do in your beats, is like you can build more energy by copying the same chords and just putting up another octave, and also playing around with the velocities and the strumming if you want. So the next sound, I already went through these, but I'm kind of just playing them so that way they're in sequence. And notice the movement. These are two different patterns on that melody. So it goes higher with the higher chords. There's a correlation there. So the next thing, double up pattern 8. And let's add in that final melody. And notice that main melody I panned to the right. I wanted to give it its own stereo, you know, place, as well as frequency wise. So usually my melodies go right, the main melodies. It depends what I want to do. So now that I have those 4 elements, those are 4 melodies, I decided to start making some drums. So this is the pattern I chose with this kick here. And the kick pattern actually is very interesting. It's not an R&B pattern. It's not a hip hop pattern. It's dun 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 dun. It's very, and it goes straight through the whole time. So it's very unique for this type of beat. I think you know, that's why some people are really enjoying this one, and it just has a vibe to it. So then I added some snares. And I didn't mention the kick. I actually did cut the highs so that way the lows just come through. And I use Fruity Soft Clipper method, where you basically copy these parameters. Basically what I'm doing is stopping it from passing a certain threshold, and then going into the actual kick I use and going to this little, the wrench tool, and then you can adjust the volume multiplier, but this time I didn't even have to. I ended up using Sound Goodizer and lowering the mix level, the send level, so that way it was just too much, and I like how it sounded with the beat with that particular plugin at that level. So play around with things and just see what you think sounds good. And sometimes, you know, what sounds good to you may not sound good, so it just takes time and practice and consistency. So the next thing I added, you got the snare, and the snares were actually doubled up. So I got 2 different snares, and I did some layering for those as well. And if you notice, the first snare, I did some wicked EQ. I just highlighted the high mids so that way it came through. The second snare, I highlighted the low mids so that way it's a layered snare and it sounds really full and it's hitting hard. The next sound that I chose, I believe, yeah, I went straight to the bass. Notice it's just octave jumps. Note wise, I got it going from F sharp to F sharp, and it's basically copying what the kick pattern is doing, but moving in a certain octave, moving in an octave at a certain place. So what I did with the 808, I used EQ, which I only boosted the lows and cut the highs a little bit. And then I use Fruity Limiter to side chain it to the kick. And then I use Fruity Fast Distort to give it a slight distortion. And it's a quick way to add distortion and add some uniqueness to the 808. After I did that, I threw in a drum loop. Not a drum loop, but more like a percussion loop, just to give it a little more extra flavor. And I lay it down, like, notice the volume is like way down in the background, bars. So I cut the lows, that way the lower frequency instruments in the percussion loop doesn't shine through. So check it out. And it's barely audible, but it's there just to kind of fill in a little space. And here's the hi-hat pattern. Just cut the lows for the hi-hat just in case. Sometimes you get lower frequencies and hi-hats, and then there's a hit, and it looks like I didn't even route it to the mixer. It's routed, but it's not named right here, so it's just a symbol. And you know, it looks like I was rushing. So you know, when you're making your beats, you don't want to rush. You want to actually name all of your tracks exactly what sound they are. Like, you know, just right click and name it, whatever. Actually I should do that. I didn't change anything in here. So symbol, and I could cut the lows, but I didn't. So let's and you can use these little nodes here on your use your mouse scroll wheel to adjust these, that adjust how sharp you want the cutoff or boost. So yeah, that's pretty much actually that's all the sounds that are in the beat. I didn't do any crazy automation. I just did a little bit of panning with the lead and the pad and the percussion loop and the hi-hat. I wanted the higher frequencies to kind of one go left, one go right, to create some balance. So yeah, so it's not very complicated. It's just that all these sounds complemented each other, and I don't even know what, well, I don't know what genre you would call this, but yeah, people are feeling it. Sometimes you can't classify stuff. You gotta play what's in your mind and what's in your heart and let the audience decide. You know, you can't like always be, I'm gonna make a trap beat. You know what I'm saying? We're producers. You know, you might start out with trap beat and then you make something totally different. And then I know producers that are scared to put it out because they made something different. Don't be scared, man. Just let that out, you know, and let people decide how they perceive the art, because you're the artist, you're the creative, you're the producer, and you're not, I mean, in a way, it depends. There's a balance when you're pleasing the audience. Like, there's artists that make songs because they know people are going to love it. Producers make beats because they know people are going to love it. Artists are going to love it. It's going to sell. But at the same time, you got to feed your soul and make the stuff that's in your heart. So that's basically what this beat was. I was like, I actually balance my beats. I do some that are catered to selling, catered to type beats, and then some that are catered to whatever I want creatively. So that's just me. Everybody's different. So let me stop ranting, and I'm gonna start the beat over at the beginning so you kind of hear how the vibe goes, the intro, the chorus, and a little bit of the verse. And mastering wise, like I say in all the videos, there's different ways, hundreds of ways you can master a beat. I use Isotope Neutron 2, And then I use the track assistant, and I change different parameters based on the modules. And then I use Ozone 8, same process with different modules. Then I change all the parameters and just get really intricate with it. But I don't want to bore you with the minute details, but there's tons of videos of mastering, and actually I did a few as well. So and I use tonal balance control to kind of figure out where all the frequencies lie in the beat. So let me actually, yeah, hit it from the beginning. Check it out. It's a short intro. Probably like 8 bars. Main chorus here. Now you see how it moves. There's breathing room. The beat breaks down. It's not a typical song structure. I kind of zoned out. Actually, I think this was like a TV film beat at first, but then I ended up making a little different as far as structure wise. So yeah, it had some cool stuff, and I definitely didn't want the beat to go to waste. So, you know, I altered it, you know, for a specific market or whatever. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you're inspired, and hopefully I said something in a video that you didn't know or that you learned from. These chords, I think I used the stamp tool to kind of create. No, I created these on my own. But yeah, so, you know, there's a lot of different elements. You know, sound selection is important when you're thinking about correlation between other notes, and just kind of build up from the ground up, you know, and don't be afraid to try things differently. So again, it's your boy DJ Fanatic Beats, content contributor for LiveOffBeats.com. If you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at DJ Fanatic Beats. That's PHANATIC, or Sounds for Producers on Instagram as well. Peace and love, y'all. Keep making music.